Hello and welcome to our Garage Declutter workshop. Welcome to everyone that is just coming in. Awesome to see you here. It's winter in Melbourne, so it's not very pleasant outside, but the sun's out, which is awesome. But it's certainly a lot nicer inside. What's it looking like where you're joining us from today? We'd love to hear from you. You can unmute yourself or use the chat, whatever you like. Send us a little message. Where are you joining us from today? And what are you looking to learn? Why would you like to organize and declutter your garage? And do you really need to? Is it okay like it is? Maybe it's not such a worry. Many of my clients, they tend to worry about things a bit too much sometimes, and they go, well, it's probably okay just like it is. But depending on the circumstances at your house, you may have a little bit of work ahead of you or a lot of work. Let's see if we can get some steps to help you along the way with that today. So today in the workshop, we are going to talk about decluttering the garage, obviously, but just wanted to tell you a little bit about our business space and time. We always love to talk to our clients about making conscious choices with how we use our space and our time. So it's not just doing things because you've always done it that way. It's adapting to how you do things, how you use your space, how you use your time to suit your circumstances right now for you and your family. So that's a important thing to be thinking about today and anytime that we're around the home, setting up systems to improve our life. As I said, we'd love for you to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from and what you're looking to learn today. And I'll offer some more information about what we can do after today to continue our decluttering journey. So here I am. My name is Julie Cliff. I am a professional organizer and declutter coach. My business is Space and Time. Started in 2015, and before that was an executive assistant and administrator for a long time. So helping others get and stay organized in the office environment was something that I really enjoyed doing. Then found a group of professional organisers here in Melbourne that I found that they use similar skills to organising an office and people in an office, but they do that in people's homes. So that's how my business started in 2015. Married, have a husband and two teenage sons, and love doing this online digital declutter coaching and organising. But otherwise, like this afternoon, I'm heading out to a client's house to help her declutter. They are selling their home and moving overseas. So I'll be going to do that this afternoon. And that's what me and my team do each and every day, help people get through their bits and pieces that are all over the house that are getting in the way of the stuff that they actually want to do, and help them find the things that they need for them to be able to do the activities that are really important to them. So what is the problem with having too much stuff in the garage? Well, I often see in people's garages that it's a dumping ground for broken stuff. We're not sure what to do. We'll just chuck it in the garage at the carport or the car, whatever you might call it. There's no room to park the car. There's often tripping hazards. You can't get to the things you actually want. A lot of the time, my clients have no idea what is actually in their garage. And there are often boxes and boxes of unpacked stuff from the previous move. So why do we want to get organized? Well, we want to get organized in the garage so it is easier to park the car, if that is your intention. Have a better use of space, easier to find items and easier to put the items back to where you found them straight after you've used it. Make it safer so that dangerous tools or equipment aren't poking you or poking into the car that you're trying to park in there. And also protect your valuable items like your tools in your car. They are expensive items, so let's look after them, and just to make the space more efficient. So that's why we want to declutter our garage. So to get clear, I'll read it rather than make it up. Get clear on what you will and will not put in your garage. So you can sort of set some rules and boundaries for yourself and the family about what will and won't go in the garage. So we can decide it's not going to be a dumping ground anymore. You know, do you need room to put the car in? Or maybe it might be a little bit too small, the space for your car. So it's more of a storeroom, or it might be a gym, somewhere you can do your exercise. So have a bit of a think about what is going to be the intention of this space. Do you keep sports equipment or tools or garden gear in there? Or do you have a bit of storage area for household items? I do know a number of clients of mine that their houses are quite small. So sometimes they might have a pantry for excess food that they use often in the garage. There might be storage of seasonal clothing. There can sometimes be space for these other items, but it really does need to be intentional. And as the bottom line there says, and as I started when I first went to this slide, is set boundaries and rules about how you want to use your garage and what the purpose is. So to help us through decluttering the garage today, we're going to use the good old trusty space and time organizing system. I can see a few familiar people that have joined us today. Thank you so much for coming again. You would well and truly know the 6 steps of the organizing system back to front. And they are, the first one is stop the stuff. Second step, your commitment to being organized. Third step, sort the stuff. Fourth step, things you no longer need. So that's the decluttering. Then we're going to look at easy storage and maintenance. So let's jump in. By the way, don't forget to introduce yourself in the chat, where you're joining us from today and what you're looking forward to learn. That'll help me stay on track, make sure I cover everything that you're interested in. So let's look at ways that we can stop more stuff from coming into the garage. So what is the big deal? We already spoke a little bit about some of these things of having too much stuff in the garage. It can be difficult to find things. It can be frustrating and overwhelming. I was trying to find a document this morning. That's a completely different topic, but it just reminded me that I am generally a fairly organized person, but this morning I hadn't put this document where I wanted it, and it took me quite some time to find it and then send it on to the person that needed it. It was just frustrating and a waste of time. So it was just another reminder of how important it is to keep a good track of where our things are and return them to their permanent homes, which we will talk about in storage shortly. And sometimes when we've got too much stuff in the garage, everywhere we look, there is just stuff. So you just get overwhelmed. There's too much stuff. You feel all sorts of different things. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have started earlier. So there are heightened emotions everywhere you look. There's no sort of calm space if the garage is full. And also, it just takes up precious space, particularly in a garage. And if your home is a little bit smaller and space is precious, too much stuff can really take up valuable space. And when we've got too much stuff, we've got these heightened emotions, there's too many things everywhere. The indecision of where to start and what to do things can really become paralyzing, and you don't end up doing anything. And you end up in a bit of a pickle because you can't even make a start. So we'll talk about some ways to get started today. So often when we're talking about stopping more things coming into the garage, I'm going to give you some ideas here on what to do. So I mentioned before, there's often broken toys and things in the garage. To stop that from happening again, as the kids grow up and their toys lose appeal, or perhaps they're broken and they're left collecting dust in the garage, have a go at donating or selling the items straight away, to be able to as I say, make that decision and just let it go rather than put it in the garage and think about it another day. Donate it or sell it straight away as the kids' interests change or their hobbies change. And also, as I said, some things they just outgrow or become broken. So set yourself a bit of a challenge to be able to make these decisions as you're going along. Sometimes we do have to hang on to stuff because the oldest kid might want to hand it down to the others, particularly in relation to toys and if you've got more than one child. But have a little bit of a conscious thought, will the next kid actually use that? Did your current child use it very often? Is it worth hanging on to and taking up that valuable space? Also, the idea of discarded appliances. So you might have a superseded kitchen aid or, mix master or some sort of appliance that helps you do all sorts of things in the kitchen. You might get an upgraded model of that rather than put it in the garage and have it collect dust and again take up valuable space. Consider selling or donating the item as soon as it's become superseded. Somebody else could probably really enjoy that appliance. Have a look at Facebook Marketplace, eBay, any of your sort of buy nothing groups on Facebook, and just get the item straight out the door rather than into the garage. Might take a little bit more effort, but well worth the effort rather than it taking up space in your garage. And I often see in people's garages as well, excess clothing. Now, your garage is not a closet. I did mention before that sometimes we might need to use the garage as an overflow, but I don't want you to just be stuffing things in the garage because you can't be bothered going through the items. As I said, be brave, make a decision, and only keep what you will absolutely use in the future. Again, it might be kids' stuff that is stored as ready for the next one, but have a good idea of will the items actually be worn again. So only keep what you need and store the rest elsewhere. Be very purposeful where you store it. You could perhaps use some of the upper racks that are out the road for storing excess or seasonal or off-season clothing. But again, just be mindful of not putting things in the garage that don't need to be there, and by sort of delaying your decision making by just stuffing in there and look at it another day, because that often won't come. So that's just a few little ideas on stopping adding more things to the garage that don't belong there. Can you think of anything else? What else gets dumped at your garage that you would like to make an effort in for next time and not dumping it there? Let me have a look at the chat. What have people got to say? Hi, Mary. She's here from Ireland. Better ways to be organised. Awesome, Mary. Thanks for joining us. 1 a.m. Heavens, good on you. You are doing an awesome job. And Mary Lou, my amazing virtual assistant, is joining us. Thank you for coming. Okay, and Mary says, knowing what you have stops you from buying a second one. Absolutely. So if you're a little bit more organized in your garage, we'll talk about storage shortly, then you won't accidentally go and buy another one because you can't find it. I love that idea, keeping an inventory, or just have less. Less stuff is just so much easier to manage. Thanks, Mary, very much for sharing. All right, let's look at your commitment to being organized. This is step number 2. So the first one was all about stop more stuff from coming in. This is let's get down to business. And I'm very sorry to say that there is no magic wand for being organized. I did talk to a client a couple of weeks ago and she said, I'm just looking for a magic bullet. Can you tell me anything magic that I don't know? It's like, sorry, we've just got to put in the hard work. It just does take time. It does take commitment, focus, and persistence. And that is why organized people are that way. And we really want to today have a think about breaking this decluttering task down into small pieces. So you might have a whole garage full of stuff. I did just get sent some photos this morning of a client who wants some help with the garage, and it is literally full. So that will take a little while to unpack. And if your garage looks a bit like that at home, break it down into small pieces that are manageable. And the last point there says you will need to change how you do things. So what I mean by that is that you can also start being organized and doing what organized people do, or go back to some of the habits that you have done in the past. I know that life gets in the way, someone gets sick, you get sick, you're caring for somebody with a disability. There are so many challenges that life throws at us that we never expected. But if you can start to put being organized with your time and your space as one of your top priorities, it will be so worth the effort so that you and your family can live the life that you want. So your commitment to being organized is really about making time to get on and stay on this decluttering and organizing journey. So I would highly suggest just starting with 10 minutes and start somewhere in the garage. It might be one little shelf. It might be the top of the workbench. It might be the floor. And then schedule regular times in the diary and make a commitment to getting the job done, even if it takes you a number of sessions, a number of weeks, a number of months. I'm also working with a client online each week just for 10 minutes. He gives me an update on what he's done for the week. We set some goals for the next week, and we've been doing this for quite some time. He's going through not a huge amount, but a lot of things that are sort of quite sentimental to him. A lot of bits and pieces he's collected over time. So it is taking time to, unpack or undo that work. So don't expect it. As I said, there's no magic wand to wind around and have it done perfectly, really quickly. Just get in there and start with 10 minutes. And I really can't stress it enough. I'll say it again. Get the time in the diary to get started on your decluttering projects. And it's the same with anything important that you're working on. Yesterday, I had an admin day and I wrote a big squiggly list. Look at this. You won't even be able to read it. Oh, no, you can't read it because can't see it because of my thing at the back. But it was just a list of things to do, all these clients to contact, do some invoices, have a look at Xero, contact some other people. And one of the important things was to do invoices. When I did the invoices, about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, it should have been the first thing that I put in the diary yesterday morning. I should have put a timer on for 25 minutes. I think that's all it ended up taking me at the end of the day. Just get it done. Otherwise, you're running around at the end of the day or the end of your decluttering time in your garage, and you just end up putting it off. I might paint the spare room, or I might watch the grass grow. All of these other projects come up instead of being committed to this process and this project that you are working on right now. So get the time in the diary and continue to schedule regular decluttering times to get the job done. When's a good time for you to work on your decluttering? Are you a morning person like me, or just do it as soon as you get out of bed in the morning or after some exercise? Or do you prefer to work in the evenings? Let me know in the chat what works for you, because we really want to work with our energy levels as well to make sure that we've got the energy for making some of these decisions. All right, we're going to move on to step 3, which is sort the stuff. So as I mentioned before, decluttering the garage, if you've got a lot of stuff in there, can be daunting. So have a bit of a go of just start on the floor to make it safer to work in there. And start by sorting items and grouping them with like items. It really is amazing how there's a natural flow that starts to happen as you begin the sorting process. So you might just have a box of mixed up tools or a box of mixed cords that have come from in the house from the computers, or power cords, whatever it might be. Just start to put like items together so you can actually see what you have instead of just a jumbled mess. I love this sorting step. You know, sorting kitchenware, like as in plasticware in the kitchen, is one of my favorite things to do. You know, putting all the lids on the Tupperware or plastic containers and matching them. Or as this is alluding to, being in a garage and getting all the bits and pieces together that go together. And here are some ways you can start to sort the stuff. So sort sports equipment together and sort it by sport. So you might put all the cricket gear together. It might be in a box or a tub. We'll look at storage again a bit later. It might be sorting tools by the type. You know, are they hand tools? Are they, longer things like spades or rakes? Or maybe even gardening supplies by season, depending on how much gardening stuff you do have in your garage or perhaps in your shed in your backyard. We can start this sorting rather than just have this big jumble of things. You'd start to be able to see what you have, and it becomes much easier for your brain to process. So remembering that this step is creating a more organized and functional space. And so with a bit of effort, we can transform it so it's much easier to use and enjoy. So just put it back to that one a bit as far as the sorting goes. It just sort of depends on the other things that you do have in the garage, whether there are broken items you might want to bring together and start to make a rubbish pile. There might be recycling. There might also be clothes that I mentioned before. I see all sorts of things in people's garages. So whatever you've got, start to put like things together to be able to help you manage what you've got. Mary says, yes, garden stuff. That can certainly be one that you could start with. Good idea. So once we've got the things sorted, we want to go on to step 4. Now, with these 6 steps of the space and time organizing system, I've deliberately got this decluttering step all the way here on step 4. So we really had a good think about what we're trying to achieve. You know, we stopped more things from coming in, and being clear on what the garage is for. So that was the first step. The second step was being committed to it. Let's get the time in the diary. And that third step was starting to sort it out. You know, we didn't just start right at the beginning of this session and start throwing things away. This is where we're going to look at the decluttering now. So 4 things you no longer need. Have a good think, why are you holding on to all that stuff in the garage? If it's sentimental value, perhaps you're worrying that you might need it one day, or you don't know what to do with it. But sometimes it's really good to have a think about what it is. Why are you hanging onto it? And remembering, as we just said on 2 slides ago, that we really are looking at creating a more organized and functional space. We want it to be easy to use and to enjoy. So hopefully with those sorts of things in mind, letting items go is going to be easier because we know that tripping over it, not even being able to find what you want is so frustrating. We want to be able to use our spaces nicely. So if you are having some difficulties in letting things go, perhaps some of these things might be helpful for you. So have a bit of a think about your lifestyle. You know, are there items in your garage that no longer fit your current lifestyle? Like maybe you used to play a particular sport, or you had or did downhill skiing and you're now in a wheelchair, so you're not going to use those items anymore. Try and be really practical about it rather than sentimental, because that can really hold us back sometimes if we're holding on to the sentimentality. We want to be pretty practical today and clear up that space for using in other ways. So there might also be certain tools that you used in the garden, but you no longer have a need for those particular tools anymore. So have a think about your lifestyle and how you are living right now. Maybe you had a huge garden at one stage and you have downsized, but you brought all your tools with you and they're all in the garage. Maybe you might only need a few handfuls now, a rake, a spade, a pair of secateurs, because you do have a regular gardener come with you. Maybe because your lifestyle has changed, you can let go of some of these items now. And also the idea of let go if you have duplicates or multiples of the same item. I do understand there are special technical tools, but how many screwdrivers do you need, or how many hammers do you need? Have a good think about that. Again, there may be certain reasons why you would have multiple screwdrivers or sets of screwdrivers or hammers, but have a good think about it. Are you just hanging on to it just in case, or are they really necessary? So have a think about your lifestyle and also letting go of duplicates. Here's some more tips for overcoming difficulties and letting go. Ask yourself, when was the last time you used it? If it's been months or even years since you used it, it's probably safe to let it go. Maybe you could borrow the item later if you found that, oh, heck, I do need that rake, once you let it go, and borrow it from somebody. It's a great excuse to go and talk to the neighbours. Also consider the condition that it's in. If you're having difficulties in letting it go, is it actually in good working condition, or is it broken and beyond repair? If it is broken and beyond repair, perhaps it's time to let it go. And also overcoming the difficulties of, I might use it one day. Well, I would say go for it, let it go. And then if you did find you needed it again, if it's inexpensive, perhaps you could rebuy it. Or could you use something else that will do the job just as well? Could you borrow it from someone? Just like I said, borrow it from a neighbor or hire it. Or join a local group that swaps items. There are a lot of community groups that swap tools or swap gardening equipment, those sorts of things. So just thinking about letting go of the idea, I might use it one day, because there is every chance you will not use it again. But don't be too scared, because you'll probably be able to replace the item. We're talking about things that are in the garage, probably inexpensive, probably something that's just been there for a long time, but see if you can overcome the difficulties of letting it go, particularly, I might use it one day. And have a good look around your local area. Have a look on Facebook, have a look on online, what they called, sort of directories for donating items, and check out some amazing charities in your local area to donate things. We do have the big, chain stores here in Australia. We have like Salvation Army has Salvo stores. There's Vinnie's, which is another large chain. Savers. So there are a lot of big chain donations places, but also there's smaller ones around your local community. Speak to your local neighbourhood house or neighbourhood community centre and ask them for their ideas on donating items. You'll be really surprised what's going on in your community that you don't even know anything about. There are people right here in Melbourne that don't have food, they don't have clothing. they are really finding it tough. So there are a number of community groups that we can donate these items to. And how about thinking of the idea of changing your perspective about letting things go? Sometimes we hold on to things so tightly, we get, as I said before, worried about letting it go. But this quote from becomingminimalist.com says, there is far more joy in giving things away than can ever be found in owning more. You know, how much stuff do we need? Let me have a look at the chat. What have people got to say? Yeah, Mary says 3 or 4 of the same thing. That could be a great place to let things go. And she also says, I give to the local school. Fantastic. So good to have these local areas that we can donate stuff that they and that they are going to use them. All right, we're going to have a look at step 4. Easy storage for your stuff. Again, just like the previous step. Yes, this is step 5. Yes, I don't know why it says 4, it's 5. Just like step 4, the previous step, this is deliberately, the storage is in this part of the process for a reason. You know, we didn't just go up to the local store and buy a heap of tubs and containers and things and start putting items in there. What we have done is done a lot of the decluttering now, so we should have a smaller collection of stuff. And now we know what we are actually storing, so that we can figure out the right items to use. We can figure out if we need shelving, because now we know what we are keeping. Sometimes some boxes and smaller sort of containers are good to help you with the sorting process all the way back in that step. But when we're talking about the proper, let's put it away and store it properly, this is deliberately put in this step here. So easy storage for your stuff. And a great way to start to store your things is how frequently you use them. So we want to keep items that you use most often within easy reach, and then store less frequently used in less accessible areas of the garage. So for example, you might keep your lawnmower that you use regularly and your gardening tools near the garage door, while seasonal decorations can be stored in the back. So, you know, you might need to get a ladder to get your Christmas tree or whatever other Halloween, those sorts of decorations. So the easy storage for those things that you are frequently using. Also, we can store by function. So store items together based on their functions, such as automotive supplies, sports gear, or camping gear. We sorted them earlier, putting all those like items together. Now we might like find a tub to put the sports gear in, or camping gear might go on one shelf. Automotive supplies might go on a beautiful peg board like this one. This photo came from online, so it looks like it's actually in a shop. But there's no reason why you couldn't set up your garage to look just as beautiful as that. Mine certainly doesn't. It's got too many things in it. But we all know where the things are because they've been in those positions for a long time. But have a go by storing things by function. This will absolutely make things easier to find them when you need them, rather than fossicking around in a big pile of stuff that we sort of were talking about at the start before we even did anything of this process. And also for easy storage, we can sort your tools by type. So keep all your wrenches together in one area, screwdrivers in another, and power tools in a separate spot. This will make it easier to find what you need when you're working on a project. So again, it could be set up on a pegboard like this so that you can easily find the items that you need. And here are some other ways we can use our space in this easy storage step. Don't forget to use the vertical space. So take advantage of the height of the ceiling by installing shelves and hooks to store items like tools, sports equipment, or even bicycles by hanging in the vertical space. I'm not even sure if this picture is real. It looks like it's been made by AI, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It gives us some good ideas. You know, that bike is off the floor, it's on the wall, it's out the road, and it's just making great use of the vertical space. The racking here looks absolutely amazing. Light blue, it looks like metal racking or shelf, and then going all the way up to the ceiling. And then there's some other shelves as well that are bolted to the wall. So have a think about how you can use vertical space in your garage. Also invest in storage bins or tub so you can keep like items together and keep them accessible. So there's looks like some tubs there that you can just sort of grab, various sizes, and would have different items in there. And of course you can put labels on them to make it easier for everybody to find things. How about this cute little magnetic strip? So these might be your everyday items that you can't live without. So a pair of scissors, it always needs scissors when you're in the garage for lots of different reasons. And then a few little hand tools on this magnetic strip. Great way to keep little bits and pieces off of the, your bench that you're working on, and have them all in just on a strip there. You might have whole sets of them still in their package, a whole set of screwdrivers, adjustable wrenches, spanners, in a separate area in the garage, but these are just easy to grab, do a quick little job, and then put it straight back as you're using it. And how about overhead storage? So these racks here are actually suspended from the ceiling. So keep items off the ground and out the way. And so you can use this for items that you don't use very often, unless you're really tall and can just easily grab it. But seasonal decor or camping gear can go on these overhead racks. Fantastic way to use the space that may go, underutilized if you're not looking at ways to use this overhead storage. So again, this is sort of suspended from the ceiling, but looks like wonderful way to be able to use all of the space. So what else did I miss? What else? What other things have you got in your garage that is working well as far as storage goes? Mary says, if I only had 6 months to live, boy, would I do a lot of decluttering. Man, that is a very, very interesting thing to think about, isn't it? If you only had a certain amount of time to live, what would you absolutely get rid of? But there's no reason why you can't ask yourself that question. What if I've got a lifetime to live and I want that best lifetime to be amazing rather than tripping over the lawnmower? But I love the idea of thinking about, if you had a short-term time to live, what would you get rid of? Whatever can get you motivated, I reckon, is awesome. Thanks for sharing. Let's look at step 6, our last step in the system, which is maintenance tools. We will have a little bit of time for questions, so pop them in the chat now, or when we're finished, you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask anything that I've missed. Or, as I say, pop it in the chat. What's been the most useful tips so far? And what have I missed? What else would you like me to talk about? Let's look at step 6, maintenance tools. So maintenance tools is about, making being organized something that we do every day, not just decluttering that happens every 6 or 12 months. This is maintenance, daily maintenance. So I highly recommend sharing your decluttering journey with a friend and update them frequently on your progress, so that you can be accountable. I like to call it be accountable. A couple of my clients say, you know, encouragement. Have some encouragement sessions with people so that they are keeping you on track and giving you the pat on the back that you need. But also, you know, you can give yourself a pat on the back for your great work that you are doing. But get somebody else to help you out with this accountability to keep you moving. That sort of middle point there says just start. We mentioned this a bit before. It will take a little bit of time to get into your new routine, like putting items straight back to their permanent homes once you've used them. You know, use those scissors, put it straight back on the on that little magnet rack. You know, use the lawnmower, put it back in that permanent home that we set up in easy storage. Use the garden rake and then put it straight back where it lives so it doesn't end up a big mess again. But just start, have a bit of a go at it. And also remind yourself, use reminders in your phone to follow up on your routine and action them when they're sound. I was just trying to see if I had anything that's come up this morning. I had to pay Mary Lou, my assistant. I need to reach out to a support coordinator shortly. That's popped up to remind me, but just put the important reminders in. Don't put a million in there that you never action because you'll just go crazy. But if there's something that really needs to be done, put it in your phone to remind you, or go old-fashioned way. You probably can't see that because of the background gets in the way, but it says, my goal is that I can find what I need in 30 seconds or less. So you could carry that around with you just to remind you what all this effort is about. I want to be able to use my garage. I want to be able to tinker with my small appliances or my lawnmowers that I do up, or my son really is interested in doing up old cars. When he gets his own garage, it would be awesome for him to be able to find exactly what he needs in 30 seconds or less. Carry that around in your back pocket so you're remembering what all this effort is for. So this is maintenance tools to do every day. So we're nearly at the end. This is our recap. So don't forget that your garage is a functional space, not a storage space. I did say that sometimes our stuff spills out from inside the home. If you haven't done our other workshops, have a look on YouTube for them. If your things are spilling out from in the home, maybe you might be able to spend some time inside to make more space so that things aren't spilling into the garage. But avoid holding on to items that you are no longer needing. Let them go. Evaluate your reasons for holding on to items and commit to only keeping what is necessary. Begin the sorting process by organizing similar items together. Donate or dispose items that are no longer needed or used, and use storage solutions such as shelves, cabinets, and tools, tool chests to maximize space and keep items organized. And the bottom point says, return things to their permanent homes as soon as you use them. You know, a good way to start practicing this is your toothbrush. Whenever you clean your teeth at night, clean it. No, clean your teeth, clean the toothbrush, put it straight back in the toothbrush holder or back in the drawer or the cup, wherever you put it. A great little habit to get into, and then develop it from there. And looking at returning items to their permanent homes whenever we use them, particularly as we've been talking about today in your garage. So if you are in Australia and Melbourne, come and join me tonight. I'm running a Declutter Your Life, not wife, Declutter Your Life workshop. My words aren't coming out so well today. I hope they improve by this time tonight. So this evening in Mill Park, which is sort of northeast of the Melbourne suburbs, we're going to be running an in-person event, Declutter Your Life. So if you are in Melbourne, come and join us. We'd love to see you there. And stay tuned for upcoming events as well. We will have another one in a fortnight, which is going to be Declutter Your Craft Room. So keep an eye out on our Facebook page, and it will be on Eventbrite, where we publish a lot of events. So it will probably come to you if that's how you registered for this event. So Declutter Your Craft Room. Haven't done that one before, but can't wait to share it with you. We will go through the same 6 steps, but specifically looking at craft items. But if you need some of this sort of accountability or encouragement help, I would love to work one-on-one with you, sort of an hour each week, online, on Zoom. We can make plans and put things in place ready for you to do the work. Or even we might spend some time just thinking about your mindset towards getting organized and just set you up for success. So let me know if you are interested in joining that Get and Stay Focused program, just one-on-one coaching with me. But also, as a special offer for being here today, I'd love to offer you a 15-minute strategy call, so we can continue the journey. So if you wanted to talk about your garage, let's spend 15 minutes on Zoom. Send me an email, julie@spaceandtime.com.au, and let's make a time to talk specifically about your garage. So what questions have we got? Let me look at chat. Where are we on chat? Oops, that's the wrong button. Chat says, Mary says, I like the idea of putting it in a diary. Spend an hour sometimes. It's amazing what you can get done. Absolutely it is. I love that idea. Get the time in the diary. Mary Lou has put the link for the library. Thank you. That's the phone number if you are in Melbourne and can join us tonight for that Declutter Your Life. Thank you very much. And yay, Declutter Your Craft Room will be on the Facebook page today and on Eventbrite, so keep an eye on that. And here is the Get Focused program. The link is there. And also let me know if you'd like a clarity call, julie@spaceandtime.com.au, and there's a little link there to be able to make that call, make that link time, make a time is what I'm trying to say. So I'll just give you 1 or 2 more minutes. Any other questions? You're welcome, Mary. Thanks for coming in, getting up in the middle of the night. That is unbelievable. Really appreciate it. What was the best tip, Mary? What did you think? Get it in the diary was a good one, you thought? So we've got...
Yeah, the diary is good.
Yes. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, if you even done it once a week, you might get on top of...
Yeah, once a week would make great progress. Yeah, good one. Wendy, did you have any points that you wanted to say?
I don't have a garage.
Yeah.
I have a carport and there's next nothing in it.
Yay!
But I have a shed. And I couldn't find anything in half a minute.
Wow.
But we're going to declutter or downsize. I've done a Swedish death clean in the house.
Fantastic.
And I haven't gone hard enough. But the shed just absolutely overwhelms me because, and things like chairs stacked up because we have big Christmas dinners and gatherings a couple of times a year, but it takes up so much floor space. I'm going to get rid of the bicycles, but it's all the toxic things I'm worried about getting rid of. We've got a lot of paint. We've got old sprays and things like that. And all that takes time. And the shed's located, it's very hard to get stuff out of it. And it's physical location and how to get stuff out with all these bushes around it and it's cold and wet and dank.
Yes, not much fun.
That's put me off. I've done sort of the house fairly well and I can find things there, but I just can't, motivate in the shed.
Yeah.
Where things are, there's so much toxic stuff in there. Yep. It's just overwhelming.
Yeah. With the toxic stuff, the local councils are pretty good with that stuff. They have a lot of drop-off points to be able to drop that off. Yeah. So get in touch with your local council. I know it does take time.
I just don't like handling it. It's just the hand.
That's fair enough
all,
too.
All yucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's all the building stuff, which we're beyond doing now, and getting rid of that, but placing all that sort of stuff, maybe a men's shed or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, men's shed. There's a lot of sort of those buy nothing groups around Melbourne that it's amazing what they will take. There's a Burundara hard rubbish rehome Facebook group, and you don't have to be just in the city of Burundara.
Burundara, so I'll just
Burundara hard rubbish rehome Facebook group. And for our people that are joining us overseas, you would have something similar as well. And they have lots of different places to be able to donate items, and people are asking for things all the time. And you can look for things. You can say, like, I'm in search of, 10 chairs so they can host dinner. You can ask, come out towards Christmas and borrow them from someone for a while. Or with that chemicals type stuff, you just never know what people are going to use. It's ridiculous to see what people are buying and swapping and getting rid of on some of those groups. So check it out. I think that could be really a good one for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Any other questions before we wrap up? Yeah, we'd love to hear if there's anything else. Mary Lou's just put a link there as well. Let us know what your sort of greatest takeaways been by sending us an email, julie@spaceandtime.com.au. But yeah, look forward to seeing you in a fortnight for Declutter Your Craft Room. And we will send the recording of this out this afternoon if you missed something. And that'll have all these links in it as well. So great to see you all. Thanks for getting up in the middle of the night, Wendy. Bill, thank you for coming. That one of our long-term attendees. And Wendy, great to see you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Kieran.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Mm-hmm.